Did you know that Transylvania's most famous castle probably has nothing to do with Dracula? That underneath one of its mountains, there's a salt mine with a Ferris wheel, mini golf, and a bowling alley, 400 feet underground, and that wild brown bears, real ones, massive ones, regularly stroll down city streets in Transylvania like they own the place. Transylvania is not just Halloween decorations and vampire movies. It's one of the most genuinely strange, wildly misunderstood places on the planet. And today, I'm taking you through 15 absurd facts about Transylvania that sound completely made up, but are 100% real. Let's count down. Fact 15. Vlad, the Impaler, the man behind the entire Dracula myth, was not considered a monster in his homeland. He was a hero. In Romania, Vlad III is genuinely celebrated as a defender of his people. He fought off the Ottoman Empire at a time when most of Eastern Europe was falling. His tactics were brutal. Nobody is arguing otherwise. But Romanians saw them the same way Americans see figures like Patton or Andrew Jackson. Fierce, ruthless. But on your side, the villain in Romanian history, not Vlad, the empire he was trying to stop. Fact 14, Bran Castle, the one every tourist calls Dracula's castle, probably never housed Vlad the Impaler. At all. The connection is almost entirely a marketing invention. Vlad may have passed through the region briefly or spent a night there during a military campaign. That's it. The castle was actually a royal residence for the Romanian royal family in the early 1900s. It's like calling a random Holiday Inn in Gettysburg Abraham Lincoln's mansion because he drove past the county once. But here's the thing. The castle itself is genuinely stunning. Perched on a 200-foot rock, overlooking a valley that looks painted. Worth every second of the visit. Just not for the reasons you think. The place where he spent most of his time is called Poenari Citadel. May not be as grandiose as the Bran Castle, but full of history. Both places worth visiting. Fact 13. There is a salt mine in Transylvania that has been turned into a full underground amusement park. The Turda salt mine has been active since Roman times, over 2,000 years of continuous use. When it stopped being a working mine, locals did what any reasonable person would do. They put a Ferris wheel inside it, and a mini golf course, and boat rides on an underground lake, all of it sitting 400 feet beneath the surface of the earth. I've stood in that main chamber. The ceiling rises above you like a cathedral carved by giants. The air is cool and completely still, and somewhere below you, someone is winning a game of mini golf inside a Roman salt mine, only in Transylvania. Fact 12. Transylvania has more medieval fortified churches than anywhere else in the world. Over 150 of them. In the 1100s, Hungarian kings invited German settlers, called Saxons, to colonize the region. These settlers built villages, and then they built churches around those villages that doubled as military fortresses. Thick stone walls, watchtowers, hidden storage rooms stocked with food and weapons. To put that in perspective, the entire state of Virginia has fewer medieval structures than one small corner of Transylvania. Some of these churches are so well preserved that walking through them feels like stepping directly into the 1400s. The floors are still stone. The doors still creak. The silence inside them is almost loud. Fact 11. There is a glacier inside a cave in Transylvania, and it is over 3,000 years old. Skerishwara Cave contains one of the largest underground glaciers in the world, a block of ancient ice buried deep inside a mountain, completely sealed from the outside world, frozen since before the Roman Empire existed. Scientists drill into it the same way they drill Arctic ice cores to read the climate history of the planet. Every layer is a chapter. Every inch is a century. This glacier survived every single summer for 3,000 years, and most Americans have never even heard of it. Fact 10. Fact number 10. But before we get there, if this is hitting different, hit subscribe. There's a whole world of geography out there that nobody is talking about, and we are just getting started. Now, number 10, Romania has more wild brown bears than any country in Europe outside of Russia. And in Transylvania, they don't stay in the forest. Bears regularly walk into the city of Brasov. Not the outskirts, the city. There is real, recent footage of bears strolling down main streets, raiding garbage cans, wandering past parked cars. Wildlife officials had to install bear-proof trash cans across the entire city. Imagine waking up in Denver and seeing a 600-pound grizzly bear standing outside your window on a Tuesday morning. That's Brasov. Except, it's not a once-in-a-lifetime event. It happens every single year. Fact 9. Sighisoara, the birthplace of Vlad the Impaler, is a fully inhabited medieval citadel. People live there. Today, most medieval walled cities in Europe are museums. Roped off, preserved, visited by tourists who pay to look at them. Sighisoara is a UNESCO World Heritage Site where people go to work in the morning, hang laundry from their windows, and buy groceries in the afternoon. The cobblestone streets are original. The painted buildings are original. The clock tower has been standing since the 1300s. It is the most lived-in time capsule I have ever walked through. And sitting in the square where Vlad the Impaler was born, in a house that is now a restaurant, is one of the strangest meals you will ever eat. Fact 8. In a small Saxon village in Transylvania, the local church had a dedicated room where divorcing couples were locked together until they reconciled. The village is Birton. For over 300 years, if a couple wanted to separate, the church elders would lock them in a small room together. One bed, one set of dishes. No way out until they worked it out. In 300 years of this practice, there was only one divorce recorded in the village. I don't know if that says more about the power of forced proximity or the very persuasive architecture of that room. Either way, it worked. Fact 7. The Corvin Castle has a legend about prisoners who dug a well for 15 years, were promised freedom the moment they hit water, and were kept prisoner anyway. The castle itself is one of the most dramatic Gothic structures in all of Europe. Towers, drawbridges, a deep moat. It looks like someone took every medieval castle fantasy and built them all at once. The well at the center took Turkish prisoners 15 years to dig through solid rock. The deal was simple. Hit water, go free. They hit water. Their captors laughed. The inscription carved into the stone, supposedly by the prisoners themselves, reads, "You have water, but not soul." That sentence has never left me since I first read it. Fact 6. The Hoia-Baciu forest, near Cluj-Napoca, has been called the Bermuda Triangle of Romania, and the stories coming out of it are genuinely hard to explain away. Visitors report nausea and dizziness the moment they enter. Electronic devices fail without warning. People have reported losing chunks of time, walking in, moving for what felt like minutes, and emerging hours later with no explanation. The trees themselves grow in twisted spiral shapes that don't match any known disease or environmental condition. Scientists have studied this place. Nobody has a clean answer, whether you believe in the paranormal or not. This forest has a documented history of unexplained events going back decades. Walk in, see what happens. Fact 5. Transylvania is home to some of the last completely untouched old-growth forests left in all of Europe. While most of Western Europe cleared its ancient forests centuries ago, parts of Transylvania contain trees that have never been cut. Ever. Forests so dense and so old that the canopy blocks out almost all sunlight at ground level. The biodiversity inside those forests matches what you'd find in national parks, 10 times their size in the American Pacific Northwest. Lynx, wolves, eagles, all of it, coexisting inside a forest that has been growing completely undisturbed for over 500 years. Europe's Amazon, hidden inside a region most people only know from horror movies. Fact 4. Number 4. And we are almost at number 1. If you've made it this far, you already know this channel is different. Subscribe if you haven't, and drop a comment right now. Which fact has hit you the hardest so far? I genuinely want to know. Number 4. Pelish Castle, built in the Carpathian Mountains in the 1880s, had central heating, electricity, and a vacuum cleaning system before most homes in the United States. King Carol I of Romania was obsessed with modern technology. He built a 160-room neo-Renaissance palace using craftsmen brought in from across Europe, with hydraulic elevators, a retractable glass ceiling over the grand hall, and indoor plumbing that would have been cutting edge anywhere on Earth at the time. Most American homes in 1883 had outhouses. Transylvania had a castle with a vacuum system. Fact 3. The name Transylvania literally means land beyond the forest. It comes from medieval Latin. Trans, meaning beyond. Silva, meaning forest. The region was named by Latin-speaking Hungarian administrators who looked east from the Hungarian plains and saw an impenetrable wall of trees stretching all the way to the horizon, beyond the forest. That was all they knew about what was over there. There's something poetic about the world's most mythologized region having a name that simply means we have no idea what's out there. Fact 2. The Mary Cemetery of Saponsa has tombstones with bright, colorful paintings and funny poems describing exactly how each person died. This is real. Since the 1930s, a local craftsman, and then his apprentices, have been carving vivid blue tombstones for the village. Each one has a hand-painted scene from the person's life, and a poem that is sometimes blunt, sometimes darkly funny, and always honest about how they went. One reads, "Here I rest. I loved horses. One more thing I must confess. I also loved the neighbor's wife. It is the most joyful cemetery I have ever walked through. Genuine laughter at a graveyard. Only in Transylvania." Fact 1. And the number one most absurd fact about Transylvania that sounds completely fake, but is absolutely 100% true. Transylvania is real. Not just a dot on a map, but a living, breathing region with over 7 million people, intact medieval cities, underground glaciers, ancient forests, real bears on real city streets, and a history so layered and so strange that Hollywood has been borrowing from it for 100 years. Most people spend their entire lives thinking Transylvania is a backdrop for a Halloween costume, but it is one of the most genuinely wild, genuinely mysterious, genuinely alive corners of the entire planet, and most of us never gave it a second thought. So, which one got you? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. If Transylvania did this to you, wait until you see what's coming next. The next video is already on your screen right now, and I promise it hits just as hard. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you beyond the forest.